Insiders continues, Dave.
I wanted to talk about a couple things that are happening within our state here. Congressman Latham, if we could start with you. Bob Vanderplaat's group going out campaigning to vote out Justice Wiggins based on that same-sex marriage ruling by the state Supreme Court a few years ago, back in '09. I know this is a state issue, not a federal issue here, but do you support that movement and what it does to our system?
I'm not going to say how I've already voted. I'm not going to say how I voted. It's a state issue. I'm dealing with federal issues.
Congressman Boswell, what do you make about those who say this is just kind of politicized the whole
I think
election?
it impacts everybody from our Constitution, from our history. I know when I was stationed, when I was still in uniform in the NATO assignment, there with Iberian Command Atlantic, we had a big round table and we had different nationalities. We'd have lunchtime, and it seemed like whatever time I showed up, I always had a seat. They wanted to kind of examine what was going on from the USA, and it was interesting. It was kind of fun, but it was kind of, you felt like you was on a hot spot a lot too. But all of a sudden I realized what they envious us most. And it usually surprises people. It's our judiciary system. It works. We're a three-legged stool and it works. And so I take exception with if one, the executive or the legislative or the judicial trying to say this is not a working thing.
So will you support to keep it on the bench?
Well, I think we need to be very, very careful, and so I would encourage people, be very careful if you're going to vote against judges that are put there to do a job that we ask them to do by the Constitution.
So are you a yes or no guy on this?
Yes or no?
Would you keep Justice Wiggins on the bench then, and based on that argument?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Let me ask you, you both have new districts in a sense that you're competing for. Will the presidential vote have an impact on this race? And presumably it's close. You are two incumbents in one of only two districts across the country. Is it possible that the presidential vote could decide this?
If the question's to me,
to both of you.
I think certainly they'll have some impact. I have always run my campaign separate from any other campaigns. I don't rely on the state party. I don't rely on presidential candidates. We have our own organization. The day of the caucus this year, there are 384 precincts in this congressional district. I had somebody at every one of them standing up and speaking for me. So I rely on our own organization. But certainly, probably in a broader scope, that there's some impact, but that won't affect me.
I think it is common sense that there'd be some impact, but as I do my, talking to people and some are going to vote for the president and they're not voting for me, or they're going to vote for me and not for the president.
Would there be more impact if it were a runaway election, one way or the other?
I'd ask you. I would say that would have some impact,
yeah.
But I don't think it is a runaway, so I think that this one time we probably agree. We found another agree on.
We're compromising right here.
We're compromising right now, but I think there's impact, there's influence, but it's kind of up to us to go out there and communicate with the people. They see who we are and what we are, and
in the best tradition of insiders, we're getting more agreement here between these two gentlemen than I've seen in the last several months. We have one last segment. When we come back, don't go there.